All right, Sallie Ford, let's start off.
Okay.
Have you already found something in Europe that you desperately miss in the US?
Maybe the espresso is really good. And just the buildings, the architecture. Yeah.
And is there something about can you already say what sort of European mentality is versus the American mentality? Is there a difference?
Yeah, I think people here are laid back. They're not as stressed out about things, and they're more supportive of the arts. So.
Is it more like you are?
Yeah.
Are you more European in that sense?
Yeah, hopefully.
Do you think you could live here?
Yeah, I do. There is some certain things about the U.S. that, even though people hate on the U.S., there's lots of good music, and I think maybe I like that I can always travel, never really live anywhere as a musician. You kind of have a home, but it's not really, you're always leaving.
What's your current home base?
Portland, Oregon.
Could you do without? Like you said, could you have no home and just be on the run?
No, not all the time. It's nice to come back and just have time off and just do nothing, have a normal life. And I think maybe when I leave Portland, I miss it.
Why is Portland suited for you?
It's kind of like a family. There's lots of people I know there, and people are supportive, and it's kind of sort of a bigger city, but still everywhere you go you run into people you know, and it's nice because it is sort of like a European city almost, because there's lots of bikes, and it's very green, and you don't have to own a car, and everybody supports local sort of things. So.
How old were you when you moved there?
18.
So how were those first days? Can you still remember how you got by?
Yeah, I stayed in a hostel actually, and when I first got there, and I didn't know anyone, and I just looked on the internet for places to live, and the first place I lived was with all girls in this house in like the best neighborhood possible. It's Hawthorne Boulevard is this great street. There's lots of shops and bars and people walking, and yeah, it's my favorite part of town, and I live there still.
Did you often feel the urge to get back in those beginning days, to just to leave it behind?
Not usually. No. When I first moved there, I was pretty happy to be there, yeah. But in the winter, it does get kind of rainy, and and I would, if I was there for like 6 months, I would want to leave every so often. But my family lives on the Eastcoast, so I could just fly back to see them. So it's like I have two homes, or a few.
But are you planning on perhaps moving your home base somewhere else soon, or is Portland it for now?
I think it's it for now. I'm not positive. I really like New York City, but we get to go there often, and I think living there would be totally different. It wouldn't be as romantic once I actually live there.
And you don't bump in that much to people you know, perhaps, when you live in New York,
as
opposed to Portland.
But that's kind of nice too, maybe. Just to, and the diversity of New York is nice. Like, you just feel like it's an international city, and I love things like that. So sometimes there's things I don't like about Portland, but that's everywhere.
But when moving there, what was it you were looking for?
Maybe I just heard people talking about it, and it was like between that or going to Austin, Texas, or New York or San Francisco, but it just seemed like cheap, and like people were talking about it. So I just bought a one-way ticket, and I thought, if it's that bad, I'll just come back home, but it was awesome.